Okay, you are looking at Hi-Point's 9mm, the model C9. It is a compact 9mm. I've been promising to do this review for a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Real quick, we'll do a safety check, since it's the typical thing to do. The magazine's obviously empty, and nothing in the chamber. Okay, and I did put tape over the serial number for obvious reasons, but just so you know what it is that's sticking there, it's white. I have some talking points today I'm going to go over. If you've watched my review on the Hi-Point JHP 45 caliber pistol, you're going to notice a lot of similarities. Of course, I'm going to go down in a similar style, but also it's going to be similar in the sense that it is another Hi-Point firearm, and a lot of the things that apply to the 45 caliber is also going to be the same for the 9mm. Now, first off, in case you haven't heard of Hi-Point firearms, their mission statement is value means offering the most gun for the dollar. They say that they offer the most gun for the dollar, and Hi-Point truly does do this. This retails, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, but this does retail at $159.99, so that is a very inexpensive firearm. I got mine I think for around $150. So, and it came with a case too, so you get quite a bit of bang for your buck. You're also going to notice that I put a Hogue grip on here, an aftermarket grip, so it's going to look a little bit different than the stocked C9, but we'll get into that in further detail here in a little bit. So yeah, Hi-Point pistols are very inexpensive. Actually, I guess the suggested retail price is actually $165, excuse me. I must have paid $159 for mine then. So, but either way, very inexpensive. A lot of people kind of talk crap about Hi-Points because they aren't the best quality gun, but for the money you're paying, they are offering the best quality for that price. So, I do like mine. Okay, on to size and weight. Now, I went on Hi-Point's site, and they said that the model C9 here weighs about 29 ounces. Now, I went ahead and I put my Hi-Point C9 on the scale, and the scale said 31.6 ounces. And if you actually take and that's with an empty mag, the 31.6 ounces. If you take the magazine out, the gun in and of itself weighs 29.6 ounces. So the magazine weighs 2 ounces unloaded. The barrel length is going to be 3.5 inches. That's the barrel length. But the overall length of the gun's frame is going to be 6.75 inches. So, as you may notice, it is actually a very good form factor for concealed carry. It's not big at all. If you've seen the model JHP, the 45 caliber pistol, it was huge. There's no way you're concealing that thing. But this is definitely a much more concealable gun. And the sight radius is 5.4 inches, and of course the sight radius is going to be approximately from the middle of this front sight to the middle, or actually the middle of the back sight to the middle of the front sight. And the longer the radius, the better, because it'll help you become more accurate. As shaking your gun, the shorter the sight radius is, the harder it is going to be to stay on target. With the longer sight radius, you're going to be able to tell the movements in your hand a little bit more and try to keep it steady. Now, I'm going to compare this to a Glock Model 19 just to have something to compare it to. Again, I'm going to ask the question, is it fair to compare this this Model C9 Hi-Point pistol to a Glock? And in some aspects it's not, because if you're looking at a Glock, I mean, Glock is gonna win as far as the specifications and whatnot, round count, etc. But I do compare it to the Glock just to have some sort of a reference point. So if I say that this gun is 30 ounces, well, is that heavy or is that light compared to kind of your standard run-of-the-mill firearm? So that's why I'm comparing it to a Glock. Now, obviously, there's a lot of other competitors out there. I mean, you got Smith & Wesson, H&Ks, any type of name brand firearm, so to speak, that you can choose from. It's not just Glock, but I am going to use the Glock today just for comparison purposes. Okay, now the Glock 19 is Glock's compact model. Okay, I have with me today a Glock 23, and although it's the Glock's 40 caliber, it's the same form factor, same frame as what a Glock 19 is. So I'm going to kind of show you in comparison here, if I can reach through the cameras. You can see that actually they're about the same size. So that's why I chose to compare the C9 with the Glock 19, the compact model, instead of the subcompact. Glock's subcompact model is a little bit shorter, the grip's a little bit shorter. But anyways, the Glock 19 weighs in at 20.99 ounces, so just right under 21 ounces. So the the high point C9 is going to weigh 10.59 ounces more. So that's actually about 33% higher, 33% more weight than what the Glock has, which is no surprise. The slide, and high points are known for having very heavy slides, and as I said in a JHP review, it's because to keep the cost of the gun down, they used a cheaper metal in the slide that to get the same strength they have to make it thicker than with your standard steel. And apparently the Glock, or not the Glock, excuse me, the C9 and all other high point pistols are made out of what's called a Zamac 3 alloy. I guess it's a die cast from a zinc family that includes aluminum, magnesium, and copper. But it is called Zamac 3. Not as strong as steel, of course, so again, they make it a little bit thicker to compensate for it. Now, I'm not saying the slide is cheaper, that it's going to blow up on you. It's definitely heavy duty enough. It's just that it's thick and it's also heavy in weight. Keep bumping this camera. Oh well. Now, the length of the Glock 19 is 6.85 inches. And that's really actually just a difference of 0.1 inches. And actually in high point's favor, so the high point is slightly smaller, just 1/10 of an inch, so that's not anything significant. The Glock 19's barrel length is 4.02 inches, and that's a difference of 0.52 inches. So if you get a Glock 19, the barrel is going to be a ½ an inch difference. Of course, the barrel length comes into play with velocity of the bullet. The longer the barrel, the more velocity you get. Now, honestly, a ½ of an inch is pretty insignificant. I don't know if you're going to notice much difference. It'd almost have to be a couple inches before you start picking up the velocity much. But still, that is an option to consider. And but it's not a huge difference. Now, the sight radius of the Glock is 6.02 inches, a difference of 0.62. So you have a longer sight radius on the Glock. And again, sight radius is important because with a longer sight radius, it helps you be more accurate, and you can kind of tell the Glock on the right how it does have a longer sight radius. Not a huge deal, but nevertheless, the Glock does win out again in that factor. Now, the price of a Glock 19 is going to run you approximately $560 new. So again, that's $400 more than what the high point C9 is. So yeah, the Glock is better, but it's a lot more expensive. And you got to understand that High Point is not trying to make a superior firearm as far as weight, strength, durability, stuff like that. They're trying to make an affordable firearm that is tough enough to be used for defense and whatnot. And they proudly deliver at that. They really do. A lot of guys are gonna bash the C9 and other High Point firearms just because they are a lower priced gun and a lower quality. But you got to understand just what High Point's what type of market share they're trying to capture. So if you have $600 to go out and buy a Glock for your concealed carry purposes, then I say do it. However, if you don't, you know what, this might be a good alternative. You know, if it comes down to not having a gun or having the C9, definitely choose the C9. Now on to firepower. The C9 holds 8 rounds in the magazine plus 1 in the chamber. So assuming you carry one racked in the barrel, or the chamber rather, you're gonna have 9 rounds on you. Now the Glock 19, the standard magazine holds 15. So that's 6 more. Glock does have other alternatives. You could go with a 17 round, 19 round, or 33 round magazine. Of course, especially the 33 round magazine is going to look really funny hanging out of the Glock 19 because it's going to extend way down past the gun's grip. So, but there are options. The C9 does have an extra or an optional 10 round magazine that you can put in it. The base plate, you'll have like a base plate down here. It'll extend about a ½ an inch down, and it actually looks like the 45 caliber high point magazines. Now I've seen some guys on YouTube or in my searching that say that the last 2 rounds don't feed properly. So I don't know. I haven't had any experiences with them. But the thing is, if they don't feed properly, then what's the point of having the 2 extra rounds? But and I might as well talk about it now. You may have seen my other video on YouTube about the feeding issues that the C9s are having, and other high points even. And it's that the magazines themselves are actually pretty crappy. They are lightweight, weighing in 2 ounces, so they don't weigh you down much. But as I even said about the 45 caliber high point, if you drop this and step on it, it's probably going to screw the lips up quite a bit to where it's not going to feed properly anymore. But in short, the feeding issues that high points have, whenever these magazines have about 4 or more rounds in them, especially when they're full, the round that's in it will take a nosedive, and it doesn't feed sometimes. The slide will get stuck back. So what you would have to do is, let's say the slide was stuck back here, you would have to hit it forward to make it go, make it feed the new round, which isn't a huge issue. Now I just shot 50 rounds through it today, and I'm going to upload the video. I had a feeding issue today. The round didn't go in the battery. It didn't feed in the chamber. It went in maybe about a quarter of the way and got stuck. It was kind of peculiar because I couldn't smack the slide forward. I don't know if the casing to that round was a little bit bigger than what it should have been, because I was using remanufactured ammo. And you'll see it on the video if you check it out. So that was kind of a problem, and I know that sometimes remanufactured ammo will have issues like that. So I don't know what to think about it today. Was it the gun or was it the ammo? It's hard to say, but I do know that actually I shouldn't say the gun or the ammo. I should say the magazine or the ammo, because the magazine's really what's causing the problems. Go ahead and check out my video on YouTube if you want to see that. It's entitled High Point C9 Feeding Issues. I'll go ahead and annotate it. Okay, so back to the magazine a little bit. The magazine is single stacked magazine, so that's why the capacity is a little bit lower. Single stacked magazines are easier to load in the ammo, so that's kind of cool, but you do have less firepower with you. Plus, with a 9mm, it's a very common round. A lot of law enforcement agencies still use it, so it's a plentiful ammo. You're not going to have any problems finding it. Something like the 10mm, for example, it's a little harder to find ammo for. So it's never bad to have a caliber pistol that you can find plentiful amounts of ammo for it. And you know what? The 9mm, I would say recoil is pretty minimal. It's not a very high recoiling round, but it is pretty powerful though, so don't underestimate the 9mm round. It stopped a lot of bad guys, killed a lot of bad guys, so it's definitely a good round. Now, as far as accuracy and reliability, it's about as accurate as what you would expect. It is a direct blowback pistol. The mag or the barrel is fixed into place. They typically are just inherently accurate, and as you could see in the videos, it is pretty accurate. And honestly, what it lacked in accuracy is going to be the shooter. It would be me. But nevertheless, at 10 to 15